Hi everybody, Geraldine Rose here with something you'd think would be complicated, but it's just a front, middle, and a back. There's still 5 days left for the June Inspiration Challenge. The colors this month are green, orange, and kind of a beigey pink. I wanted to do something a little bit different this time and thought, I haven't got my gel plate out in the longest time. So I grabbed it out of the bin, we brought it out, picked out my assortment of colors. I am brayering them onto the background, starting out with the lighter ones first. I don't want the stronger hues of the medium and the dark inks to overpower the gel print. So what I'm going to do is I am going to pull them off first generation onto a scrap. Then I'm going to use the second generation to get that lighter toned print for the one that we're using for the card. One of the fun things about your jelly plate is that you can add all different kinds of texture in there, either through the inks or different types of paint or using a stencil. I am dabbing my ink rounds directly onto it, brayering them to soften them out a little bit, taking my pull, and then I am bringing in some of the metallic ink. So this one I'm just blocking in different sections. I'm trying to reverse it in my head on which side they're going to show up when I actually do the print for this one. Right, everybody? No, we did not get a dog. Those sounds that you're hearing in the background, that's actually my stomach growling. I had to stop and go throw some food in it, some breakfast. I asked my husband to come have a listen to it to see how noticeable it was. He says it sounds like I'm farting. I promise you I'm not farting either, but I couldn't stop laughing at that. Anyway, voiceover continuing. We're using the paint this time for this pull. This is going to mute those tones out a little bit in spots. I tested it first on the scrap panel just to see that it wasn't going to be too strong. It was fine, but I had to come back in after to put some green and some orange over top of it again. So you've got all those layers with the different effects that we've put. And this is obviously where I'm pulling the masking off the side, trying not to smudge it. Because each of those layers of inks and paints are so thin off of the jelly print pulls, it doesn't take too long to dry. That's why I'm able to come in with the Magical Peony press plate. It'll go down on the magnetic chase on the bottom, and the paper gets taped little bits in the corners to the top platen. Platen is P, paper is P, platen paper, chasing bottoms. Anywho, that's how I remember which one is which. We'll slip that print off of the platen. Those little pieces of tape, you can reuse them like forever. This set has got 4 stencils. I only used the first 3. The 4th one is for the section that has the little lines in it. I wanted to keep those. I also wanted to keep the masking on the 2 sides where the peony overflowed, where the gel print initially had been masked off. There I'm wiping the ink off of it because on the tape it won't dry and you will probably smudge it on your panel. Trust me, I know these things. And then you end up having to find a fix to fix your problem. I'm marking the plate here for the edge of where I want to put the jacket, and I tried it first in this goldy orange colored vellum. I was going to wrap the whole card in a jacket and then put a belly band around it. When I got it done, it foiled really well on that particular color of vellum, but the color itself did not look good on the card. So you can see here I'm recutting one of my thick vellums. I'm laying it down. That's why I had marked the plate to find out where do I need to put the corners of that vellum wraparound jacket so that it matches up with the card. That's what you see me setting into place here. I used the Aura foil again on this one. And this is typical, you know, set your timer off. With the bigger plates, I leave them a little bit longer and then you run them really slowly through your big shot here. This is actual time. Oh, of course, there the plate had freed itself, so that's why it's coming forward. Then you set it aside, let it cool down, and peel back your foil, see how it took. You can see with the vellum that this is one of my first times doing a full panel of vellum, and it did warp a little bit. I put it under a couple of acrylic blocks overnight to help it. For the inner card panel, I thought, okay, I'm going to do this one in color. And you can see I'm cutting down some of the mid greens for that one. And as well as splatter time. This was Kurtaki gold ink, just little ones. And then I also brought in one of the mica stains. That was one of the green and a little accent on that too. Vellum, when you are scoring it, you have to be really light. I also wrecked a third panel because I pushed too hard and I pushed through it and broke it for about 1 inch long, so I had to redo it. This is a double-sided adhesive. It's one of the things that you can use with vellum because we're going to use that jacket of vellum all the way around. I wanted something on the back that it could stick to so that you would have the same type of adhesive all the way through there. And if you want to cut it without gumming up your guillotine trimmer, put one of the old release papers over top. That'll help. Here's where I'm pushing it all into place. And this is after I'd fussy cut out the original foil from the gold because I still wanted to keep it. And I put it in little accent foil parts across the top jacket. This was the Alt-New, the Birthday Wish die set. I wanted something that was a little bit fine. I knew that I couldn't bulk it up too much, but I still wanted to have something that was dark enough so that it would show through the vellum jacket. I did have a little bit trouble getting it out of the die cut. I think that's because my plates really need to be replaced, which is also why I was brushing it off with the brush. I accented it with a little bit of the antique or enchanted gold pigment ink again, and then I put some embossing powder over it to set it in place so that I didn't have to worry about it smearing off on the backside of the vellum jacket. So I'm setting it into place so that it still shows through the front. So I'm going to put that aside. Let's work on the inside. And this is the tricky part. When you are inking over top of color, of course it's going to absorb in. I did the ombreing with the orange and the green. It looked like it was good. And then I started working on one other portion here, putting another smaller sub-sentiment down at the bottom of the gel print panel. And then when I looked back to this, the inks had smoothed out as they dried out, and I had to come back in and redo it because the middle ones were too light to see. Custom stamp on the back. I was worried about how it was going to take on the vellum, but again, I let that dry overnight and I dabbed off to make certain that the ink was dry on the vellum as well. So I had some leftover little pieces of foil, tucked them on the inside of the card. The belly band, I am putting several different sprays across the top of it to give it a little bit of texture. What am I doing there? Oh, gluing it together to make certain that it will actually slide up and down that card. So, belly bands, excellent for doing a wax seal. Got some of the greens, the orange, and the lighter green out. I am using the mini double hearts seal because I wanted a smaller one here, and I wanted it kind of an oval shape so that it didn't overflow that band. Using some of the gold metallic inks, the pen to accent the hearts on the top. Adding in some Simon Says Stamp champagne sequins for just a bit of bling. Those tones, because they went well with the orange, but they weren't like crazy standout. Onto the envelope because as is mentioned before, quite often we do the whole package now. I'm putting in different layers of flowers, the same sentiment over and over again, splattering it. I ink smooshed it. I ran it through the Big Shot to flatten out the water ripples once it was dry. That is the finished card. Sliding the belly band off. There is the front panel with the vellum. There is your inner jelly plate panel. There is your inside and the back. Not too much bling bling on this one, but still some shiny on each card face. You guys all go have fun. Be that change you want to see in the world. Thanks for watching. All right, we'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.